What we've done, all developed countries led by the United States and also the EU, have basically had massive stimulus programs since 2008 to counter what would have been the natural demographic downturn after the baby boom peaked in the United States in 2007 and in Northern Europe in 2011, okay? Now, Australia is a whole different thing. Your immigration has you growing pretty much forever, okay? In the US, there was a peak, and there's $27 trillion in the US alone to combat that downturn from 2008 up until recently, okay? And so the problem is that stimulus has overexpanded the economy and stretched it, and Donald Trump will be walking into a country that has not seen, other than the little brief COVID downturn, which I don't count, okay? That was an outside influence. The longest time without a recession in its entire history. And when people say, well, that's a good thing, I say, yeah, but I study the economy, and the longer you have a boom, the more bad debts you're gonna build up, even in the best boom in history, okay? Or a high quality boom, and you're gonna have to flush those out. And we normally have a serious recession historically every decade, and we haven't had one. So I think the prospects for the economy and the stock market under Trump are not good. And he just walked in the other day, he was saying, well, my measure, the stock market's a good measure of the economy. That's gonna be the measure of my success, and I'm gonna drive it up. I'm like, I'm sorry, Donald. I don't think you got much of a chance there, maybe a little bit short term. I think we are overdue. In other words, the long downturn saw a 2008-9 global correction, which we saw in the US led, but we should have had another crash and downturn between around late 2019 and 22 while the demographic trends were still down and the economy weak. And that should have finished it off, and we should have been in a long-term boom again from 2023-24 onward. Now, this millennial boom, the next demographic boom, which is not as big or as long in some say as the baby boom, but that great boom is going to be compromised in the early years by the fact that we never deleveraged the debt in the financial asset bubble from the baby boom, and we kept it going another 14, 15 years. I mean, I hate to say it, Sean. People say, well, they're just preventing recessions and keeping the economy healthy. No, recessions keep the economy healthy, stupid, okay? I mean, I was a turnaround manager in the 80s for 6 companies. I was CEO, not because I'm a good manager, because I'm a good turnaround manager in a crisis. These companies were going down, and I can tell people I can make 5 times the change in a company that's in trouble than one that's just sailing along with all the resistance to change that any company naturally has. So recessions are not the enemy of the economy. And historically, we spend about 7 out of 10 years in booms and about 3 in recessions on and off. And that is a healthy balance. And we haven't seen a recession since 2009. So we are way, way overdue. I would, if I could have advised Trump, I would have said, wait till next time to run. Let somebody else take it. We're gonna have to have a shakeout of this second and largest and longest bubble in all of history. And yes, this is not just the US and Northern Europe, it is global. It's Australia, it's the third world, it's everything. So I think Trump's gonna have a much tougher ride than he did first time he was in office.